Hey everybody, I'm back. I wanted to follow up with my commitment. I said that I would do a video on Carlethia, Carlee Russell, but I really didn't want to, and that's a fact. Just coming off of the video about Emmett Till and Mamie Till Mobley, my feelings are really not here for it, but I'm going to stick to my commitments. That's what people do, right? So I'm sure everybody has seen different pictures of Miss Russell, and I really don't want to say much more, but I'm going to go ahead and just go over it. So I have my commitment complete. Through my news feed or my posts, you will find numerous videos, other people's opinions, the different police press conferences about her, and this is really me just wrapping it all up because I don't want to spend any more energy or effort or thought about this young lady. So I'm going to really take some experienced people's commentary that would be primarily Nancy Grace, and let her speak for me, and I'll just maybe say something at the end. So let's get to it. So I always want to give background just in case somebody's clicking on this video and they don't know. It'd be pretty hard not to know this story, but let's go over some things. So Carlee Russell, the Alabama woman who went missing for 2 days after telling 911 that she found a stranded toddler, has admitted that she was not kidnapped and did not see a young child on the side of the highway. In fact, let me just tell you where I'm reading from. This is NPR News. This is dated July 24th, 2023, and the name of the article is Carlee Russell Says She Lied About Seeing a Lost Child and Being Abducted. Okay? Just in case you want to find it and read it for yourself later. Because I'm not going to link any more news articles or anything major like that about her. It's just so much other things to focus on. So I'll continue. In a statement given by Russell's attorney to the Hoover Police Department, the 25-year-old apologized for her actions, adding that no one else was involved in her disappearance. We ask for your prayers for Carlee as she addresses her issues and attempts to move forward, understanding that she made a mistake in this matter. Hoover's police chief, Nick Durzis, read from the statement at a press conference on Monday afternoon. Russell was initially expected to meet with the police earlier that day. Instead, her attorney, Emory Anthony, gave the department a written update. It remains unclear why Russell fabricated a story of a stranded child, as well as why she went off radar for 2 days. No criminal charges have yet been filed against Russell, Durzis said. He is discussing the matter with the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. So let me just pause right here. So this article is prior to the charging. She was charged, it's on my page, but I knew she was going to be charged. Let me just tell you a little bit about law enforcement. If you do a criminal act, but if you come out and be more admitted, especially this type, now I'm learning more and more that it's more common. In the past, this was not that common for all of these fake police 911 calls and hoaxes, but I believe if she had came out much sooner, much earlier, it probably wouldn't have got to a point where they need to charge her at all. Honestly, it was many points where she could have just stopped it. When she pulled up and it was dark, she didn't have to move forward. When she went away for the 2 days, she could have came back and squashed it and just came forward and said, I need to take time to myself. I'm sorry. I apologize. I didn't want to bring all these people into it. I didn't need this news coverage. I was fine. I'm okay. I'm safe. I wasn't missing. I just took some time to myself as an adult. If she had came forward with that type of information forthright publicly, I don't think it would have even got this far. Even an apology to just the grateful and thankfulness of all of the people involved in all of the services, I honestly don't think they would have moved forward. I can remember the press conference that I watched when the chief pretty much said, hey, we contacted the family prior to coming to this press conference, letting them know that, listen, we want to give you every opportunity to come forward, come in, sit down, speak with us. We don't have to continue to look and spend all of these resources looking for a criminal act, a crime scene, evidence, interviewing people, knocking on doors, canvassing the area, collecting video clips, working with the FBI, working with the state police, possibly getting involved, different groups that help look for missing people, local law enforcement, maybe other smaller cities nearby getting involved by being on the highway, you know, some of the closer cities within that same county. That's the type of action that came into play. The media got involved. I mean, they were there. They were videoing the groups that were going out to do the searches. They were talking to her family. They had set a press conference just to get her family in front of the camera to make a plea. You have to consider all of that instead of continuing on knowing that all of this was not true. When she came back and returned home that evening, she could have easily set forth and corrected things, and it wouldn't have had to continue. It could have been done that night. She didn't have to call 911. She could have called the police and said, I returned home, and made a statement. And that's why when I put on my whiteboard all of those things, like, why are you not cooperating with law enforcement? You know, why are you not communicating? Why aren't you trying to help get some imagery out about the person that took you? Why haven't you sat down with a sketch artist? Like, why haven't you gone in and sat down with the police? Have you gone and had, you know, some evidence taken from you? You know, have they taken your clothing? Did they take your shoes? Have they interviewed with you? You know, have they asked you to show them everywhere you went? Can you walk them through the crime scene? Or can you walk them through the stages of where you went and what happened? Can you basically illustrate, show to them the path that you were on, how you were taken, how they took you? Were there any shoe impressions? All of that is policing, police work. And that wasn't going to happen because if you sit down, maybe you haven't thought through all those answers because it's not true. Maybe if you're sitting down with detectives that can read through lies, or they're asking you, wait a minute, stop. Let's start at this point. Because some people, they have a lie like a story. And if you break up the story, they can't keep up with the lie. Wait a minute, let's start at this point. So when you say they grabbed you, what happened now? Can you repeat that? You let them keep talking. And then you stop them and you started at another point. Okay, well, let's go back to when you were at Target. What made you stop there? Okay, now let's go back to when you were at the car. Okay, can you give me the description of the baby again? Did you ever talk to the baby? Listen, they're good. There are analysts that actually can look at your behavior. They can watch your eyes, how they move, what direction they go. And then guess what they're going to ask you for? Can you take a lie detector test? Even though they can't be used in court, they can use them. They're very useful, right? Okay. So she did get arrested. I really don't even want to talk about the arrest. There's so much privilege going on here. She was charged with making the the 911 call, reporting a false crime to 911 and also lying to the police. I was looking at the law in the state of Alabama. I could not find an obstruction of justice crime on the books. I'm not an attorney, so it could be something akin to that. But I personally couldn't find obstruction of justice charge. I know she could be charged for the alleged theft of the robe and the tissue from her job if they choose to. Now that may be in a different county or in a different city. I'm not sure. And then if she lied to federal authorities, so that would be the FBI. I'm not sure if the Secret Service was involved or some other intelligence agencies, because I know her phone was going out to be sent to be looked at. So I don't know if she made some statements, some false statements to them, but she could also be charged federally for that. And that would be for making a false statement. So yeah, she has been charged. So I just wanted to correct that part of the article because the article is older before the charging. So let's keep going. Let's wrap this up. Russell went missing on July 13th after telling a 911 dispatcher that she found a toddler wandering on the side of an interstate, according to the police. When officers arrived on scene, Russell and the child was nowhere to be found, but her car, wig, and cell phone were on the roadway. And that's why I made that little reel about the curious disappearance of Carlee. Where did she go? It was kind of like a little joke with the little Cheez-Its and the wig and stuff like that. So I was trying to be lighthearted because this really upset me. And I don't like to be upset. Okay, let's continue on. Russell's disappearance and the mysterious circumstances around it grabbed the country's attention before she returned home on July 15th. At the time, Russell told detectives that she was kidnapped by men who emerged from the trees near her car when she got out to check on the child. She described being blindfolded and taken to a house where she was forced to get undressed. The next day, Russell added she managed to escape and ran through the woods until she emerged near her house. It's almost comical when you read it now. It's almost like a joke. Okay. It just makes no sense. Jersey said on Monday that the department believed since last week that Russell's kidnapping was a hoax. At a press conference on Wednesday, police said Russell's online search history raised questions. 2 days before she went missing, Russell searched online whether you have to pay for an Amber Alert, according to Hoover Police. The day she was gone, Russell searched for local bus tickets as well as the abduction-based action movie Taken. The police chief said on Wednesday that investigators found other concerning searches that shed light on Russell's state of mind prior to disappearance, but the police were not releasing them out of respect for her privacy. Okay. I wanted to look up this word real quick. I think those are two separate words. So, someone that I like to listen to is Nancy Grace. And I'm going to share pieces of a video that she did. I'm going to share pieces of a video that she did that's going to explain from her perspective how she feels about her case and that she lied and just the impact. I've said it, and I'm not going to even play all of it. It's like 40 minutes, But I'll pay probably under 10 minutes for just certain sections, because I don't want all parts of her video to be in my video, just the points that I think are important. So the first clip that I'm going to do, it's about 5 minutes, and it's just audio, so we don't have to show anything visually, but I just want you to listen to what she's saying. And she has some experts that are coming in that have experience, in criminal investigations, some psychoanalysis, things like that. But it's very, very useful. And I think everybody that's involved in law enforcement, after a career, after so many years, you gain so much experience that you can kind of figure out when things don't make sense, human behavior, how you respond. The first thing that really tipped me off, and probably tipped off a lot of people, when you listen to the 911 call once it was released, the thing that really tripped me out, when I'm listening to her 911 call, there was no sense of urgency. Not just that she didn't get out the car, if this child was a real child, and the fact that her car was moving at a fast rate, so it was pretty much untrue. But when she's talking and you're thinking about how you report this type of event, if you're seeing it, it was no sense of, hey, you need to get here, I'm concerned. It was very much a conversation that was casual, in the sense of, I'm calling, I want to report it. There's no difference in her tone. And that made me think that's really, really weird, because I have been in certain situations, and I know that my tone, my expression, my conversation, it let a person know that it was some urgency needed, some help needed. So that was something. But let's listen to what Nancy Grace had to say on her podcast for Crime Stories. So the first section is going to be about 5 minutes, and then we'll stop, and then we'll pick up the next clip. Here we go.
Along the interstate wearing nothing but a diaper and a shirt. Then she goes missing for 49 hours, throwing her family and the Hoover PD into chaos as they search for her, literally around the clock. People donating nearly $70,000 to help find her. One anonymous donor giving $25 grand. They're not getting any of that money back. The boyfriend that defended her to the hilt has now broken up with her and says, quote, "I'm disgusted." Well, I second that emotion. Guys, I want you to hear what the chief of the Hoover PD has to say in our Cut 54.
Mr. Anthony asked that I read the statement in its entirety, which I will do now. My client has given me permission to make the following statement on her behalf. There was no kidnapping on Thursday, July 13th, 2023. My client did not see a baby on the side of the road. My client did not leave the Hoover area when she was identified as a missing person. My client did not have any help in this incident, but this was a single act done by herself. My client was not with anyone, or any hotel with anyone, from the time she was missing.
Okay, let me understand that. That is Chief Nick Dervis from the Hoover PD reading a statement of a lawyer who has been given a statement by Carlee Russell. Woman, get out there and apologize yourself, for Pete's sake. But you're hearing from Carlee Russell through her lawyer, through the chief. But I want you to hear this too. Now, you hear the chief saying, there was no baby, there was no one in danger, I was never missing. Now, take a listen to our Cut 7, the 911 call. Listen to how rich in detail it is.
442 for 71. 42. 71. It's going to be 459 south, mile marker 10. It's going to be a child walking on the 3-4-year-old child walking on the side of the interstate next to her. RP's going to be close by in a red Mercedes sedan with the hazards on. Child's going to be a white male wearing a white t-shirt and a diaper.
42 going from Wyoming.
442. RP's advising there's no cars in the area. Looks like the child's been abandoned on the side of the road.
42 going. So when you still got on phone?
Negative, but she's saying that she would stand by for police.
42 call the RP back. She's not at their vehicle.
Now, remember, police got to the scene in about 4 minutes after that 911 call. Now, let's listen to Carlee Russell In her own words, the detail I was mentioning earlier in our Cut 13.
911, where's your emergency?
Hi, I am on Interstate 459, and there is a kid just walking by themselves.
Oh, hold on. Where on 459 are you?
I'm right next to the exit 10 by the Hoover Met, like to get off by the Hoover Met.
Okay, so you're before the exit?
Yes.
Okay, and were you headed southbound or northbound? Like towards Tuscaloosa or towards 280?
Towards Tuscaloosa.
Okay, and was the child on the left or right side?
On the right side.
Were they walking northbound or southbound?
They're walking towards Tuscaloosa.
Walking southbound?
Did you hear that detail? Oh, there's more. Listen to Cut 14.
How old do they look?
Like a toddler, like maybe like 3 or 4.
Did you pull over with them? Are you still with them?
Yes.
Okay, are you with the child right now?
No, I'm not. I didn't get out of the car. I can see them though.
Do you mind staying and keeping an eye on them until we get there?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Okay, what kind of car are you in?
I'm in a red Mercedes-Benz
Is it a sedan or SUV?
SUV. I mean, it's a sedan, sorry.
Can you put your hazards on for me?
Yeah, they're on.
Okay. Did you talk to the child at all, or did you say anything to them?
No.
Okay.
No.
Do they look like they're injured?
No, they don't.
I love listening to this 911 call because I know every word she says is a big, fat lie. And can you imagine her in her red Mercedes at night conjuring up this lie in its intricate detail? Listen to more, Cut 15.
Are they white, black, Hispanic, or Asian?
They're white.
Okay. Is it male or female?
I think it's a boy, a little boy.
White male? Okay. Is he wearing clothes?
Yes.
Okay. What is he wearing?
It's a white t-shirt, and it doesn't look like he has any pants on. It looks like a diaper.
You don't see any cars anywhere?
No cars are anywhere.
Okay. All right. What's your name?
My name is Carlee Russell.
And you don't see any injuries on the child from where you're at, correct?
No, but I can't really see them that good.
Okay. Try to keep an eye on them for the best you can, because I don't want you to lose track of them. And do they have shoes on?
No. Not that I can see. I can't really see that. What?
All right. I've got them on the way, okay? Just try to keep an eye on them, but officers are on the way, okay?
Okay, thanks.
Man, she's such a good Samaritan. A good Samaritan that costs the taxpayers, that's us, about $500,000 and costs well-wishers and those who want to help nearly $70,000 in donations.
Okay, so I'm going to stop that first clip there. So you don't hear that sense of urgency if it was an emergency situation. If you really did see a child walking along the highway in that total darkness, I think your voice would be different, your energy, your level. I think she's just answering questions, but the fact that her tone was not different, that was a giveaway to me. So I'm gonna go on and we can listen to the next one, and this part is gonna just talk about the resources and the money spent for just the search and looking into her being a missing person. So this will only be about a minute and a half.
Here's some secret apps they don't want you to know about. It's called Ask AI. You can literally...
What a search like this. First describe the search, because they really pulled out all the stops. What all was done to find Carlee, Mike Hassel?
They're going to pull every resource they can get on the resource list in the area into that search that they can get, because this is a high probability search, meaning when you have an abduction or you have a predatory abduction and that person is missing or there's a child involved, the survivability rate of the victim is less than 6 hours.
Less than 6 hours.
We have a time clock where we're trying to get to the victim before the perpetrator either traffics them out of the area or kills them. And so all hands are on deck at this point. Everybody's coming in. So minimum cost on this is going to start at $500,000 and go up because of all the resources that are there. When I was watching the video on TV, I saw this line of law enforcement vehicles that just went on and on and on. And you've got helicopters overhead. You've got People coming in on overtime, they're calling everybody in that's off, and they're pounding the ground. They're going to all the hotels in the area, all the stores in the area. They're canvassing the entire area. That takes law enforcement personnel, and they're...
Okay, so you guys get the point. Just the use of the resources, the taking of the people that have to come and maybe work overtime or work an additional shift. This is an effort that's going to be pretty much 24 hours for those first 2 to 3 days, because there's a small window. When a child goes missing, there's a small window. He's saying when it's predatory, when you think something has happened, maybe criminally, a kidnapping, abduction, taken by force, by somebody you don't know, you really want to be quick on it because it's just a small amount of time. He's saying 6 hours where that person can be either unalived or taken out of the state for trafficking, and by that being a major highway, for hurt. When I found out that she came out of the woods, like right next to her house, I that solidified it for me. I honestly waited as long as I could to make a video. My first video, this is only really my third video talking about her. The first one was just getting that information out. The second one was my upset because, you know, I heard about Gretchen Harrington, and it just took me to the moon, because you got people really like faking these kidnappings, and you know, it's wild. So let's continue on. It's just 2 more parts. The next part is going to be right under a minute, so let's go there. So I don't want everybody to have to listen to all of this. Some other parts, it's an interesting video, but we're going to cut that down to make it easier for people. So here we go. It's going to be right under a minute.
Plot everything out, you know, come up with this elaborate story, then show up. I mean, she really, when you listen to her, though, you can see that there's something wrong. She does have some kind of psychopathology, because she's making this elaborate story up, and it's really so rich in detail. She's a victim. And the thing about being a victim, I mean, when you look at her texts from before and the things that she said, they were inconsistent, they were really very self-pitying. And here she is now coming up with a story where everyone is going to look first for a baby and then for her. So there is pathology there. But does she know the difference between right and wrong? Should we hold her responsible? That part, I think, legally, yes, absolutely.
Guys, take a listen to our cut.
Okay, so basically she's saying from just hearing her and looking at her activity, she feels that there is something going on with her. However, that doesn't mean that she's not going to be legally held responsible. Say, for example, if you're struggling with something, if you're sad, that does not withhold you from being held accountable for your actions. You're just having a difficult time, like a lot of people. But that doesn't mean that you're not going to be held accountable. And that's why they brought the charges. Plus, she would not conform to just apologizing, being truthful up front, and also not cooperating, you know, not going in for the interview, not coming, you know, forthright about it in the beginning. You know, really making them have to work to prove everything, and they still have so many unanswered questions too.
Hi, excuse me, miss, hello. What if I told you I could get you some money right now?
He's, you know, just with this statement, quote unquote statement from Carlee through her attorney
It's
coming
about 3
through,
minutes.
You know, I think that was an effort to try and
And this is talking about the resources again.
Accusations or charges coming Carlee's way. And I also, just very quickly, I want to kind of parrot what Cheryl said earlier. You know, she not only took a lot of time from investigators, but you also have to look at it from a media standpoint. We had all hands on deck sharing Carlee's story from all over the state. The whole state of Alabama was sharing her story as well as national headlines. So not that, she would be responsible for our coverage, but that's just something else to think of when you're talking about all of the resources that were.
I mean, the moment I heard the story, heard about her disappearance, we immediately put it as the lead at crimeonline.com and put it out on social media over and over and over to get attention and get the tip line out there for people to help find Carlee. We contacted people in Alabama involved in the search to try to find out what was happening and how we could help. All the while, Cheryl McCollum, there are real victims of real crimes that need our help.
My same words, right.
But I'm more worried about people. I remember working long nights, weekends, on Easter, on Thanksgiving, on my so-called vacation with my family, working cases, working. If I found out later that the victim was lying, I would be so deflated.
Nancy, again, the resources that she took from actual victims is astonishing. But I tell you what they need to be concerned about: who's next. If you do not send a message that we are not going to put up with hoaxes and lies and outright premeditated crime, then what are we doing in the DA's office?
Just want people to understand what a search like this entails. Mud, rain, dirt, long hours, 24/7, looking, worried, dealing with the victim's family who are all distraught. I mean, can you imagine if you thought your child was missing? Mike Hatzel, you've been through it all. Mike Hatzel, president, founder, Peace River Canine Search and Rescue, explain the blood, sweat, and tears that goes into a search like this.
Well, the one factor nobody's talking about is the incredible heat that we're dealing with this year. And I just came off a search where we were out last night, and the heat injuries were unreal. We lose 4 or 5 people going down from heat exhaustion and heat stroke, and the dogs are crapping out after 30 minutes because they're just cooked. And there's a lot of resources that go into having to keep the people up. You can get a searcher out there that can work for an hour, maybe an hour and a half if you're lucky, but then they're down for 2 hours because they got to cool off and get ready. Same thing with the dogs. You can get them for 20 minutes. And then the dog has to rest for 50 minutes because he's got to cool down before he can go back out. So there's a lot of injuries involved. There's snakes and vines and, all kinds of stuff that goes on. And especially for volunteers, because, we volunteer, we go out, we help law enforcement on these searches, but we have to cover our own expenses and we have to cover our own health insurance. So if we get injured, it's on us.
Then there's Chloe Stein. And
Okay, I don't want to pull in any other cases, but one thing that I've seen kind of be said, it's been a lot of comparison of this hoax that Carlee did to people. I personally don't want to compare her case. I've heard a lot of people say she pulled a Smollett, and that's referring to Jussie Smollett. I don't agree with that. I personally feel what Jussie Smollett did, it hurt him. He attempted to create a crime against himself. And he used a lot of salacious acts, although faked. He used a lot of things that would upset people and get them to respond. He used, for example, the MAGA hats. He said that bleach was poured on him. He put he put the noose, the people that actually came forward and admitted that they helped him do this, they would not put the noose around his neck. They threw it on him. So he placed the noose around his own neck. He said that certain slurs were yelled at him. It's like he basically took a lot of painful acts and said these all happened to him in this one incident. And I feel that he didn't hurt people in the same way, because most of what he did hurt himself. It definitely hurt his career, it hurt his family, but it also revealed the type of thoughts and the type of hidden, that's why this page is called Hidden Horror, the hidden things inside of him, that he would use all of these horrible things, the sexuality, everything, the race, on himself to get the public to view him in a different light. He already was famous. He was not searching to be famous. He wanted to be seen in a different light. He wanted to be more. He wanted to be acknowledged. And they had alleged that he even wrote a letter to his job, a threatening letter to himself, a lot of different things. But I feel like the impact mainly hurt himself and his own family. It did not involve necessarily a lot of organizations or groups, even though people did come forward to show support, because people initially did believe him. I didn't. I did not believe during the winter vortex, when the temperature is like negative 15 degrees, that he was going out for something to eat with the chance to just Uber or send somebody to bring food. It didn't make sense. A lot of these situations, they don't make sense. To be out at the hours of 1, 2 a.m. in the morning during the coldest time of the year, walking. And how would somebody even know that that's what you're going to do where you live at that time, and cross you and have a noose? I mean, who gets a rope and walks around with it in the bleach? Who was walking around with bleach? Just, it makes sense. It seemed very staged. It seemed like this was something that maybe was arranged, set up just from the get-go. It didn't make sense to me. And I know a lot of people didn't come out and say it, because nobody wants to say, like, what the hell is going on? Like, why are you doing this? What are you talking about? You called the police. Even in the police cam video, when the police saw the noose around his neck, let me see if I can find it real quick. Let me see if I can find that part. They were disturbed. They were uncomfortable. And I believe they asked him something like, do you want to take that off? Can you imagine somebody putting a noose on your neck and you're waiting for police to give you permission to take it off? A noose around your neck? Like, listen. Totally disturbed. Like, where is the mental here? I found the video. I'm going to see if I can play it. It's another video, y'all. I'm sorry. I can't. They're gonna get their ads in.
I understood the assignment.
Those
those new developments in the Jussie Smollett case. Chicago police releasing 69 hours of footage, including body cam video of Smollett with that noose around his neck after the alleged attack. ABC's Alex Perez in Chicago with more. Good morning to you, Alex.
Hey, good morning, Michael. Smollett denies any wrongdoing. This is our first close-up look at how things unfolded the night he told police he was attacked.
Any weapons or anything? No.
This morning, new images of Jussie Smollett from the night he claimed he was assaulted by two men in an apparent hate crime. Police body cam video capturing the embattled actor at his apartment, still wearing the noose he says his attackers put around his neck.
You want to take it off or anything?
The video, part of some nearly 70 hours of surveillance, body cam footage, investigative records, and other images made public by the Chicago Police Department. Authorities blurring faces. The alleged assault happening this past January, early in the morning after Smollett headed back to his apartment. The alleged attackers, now known to be these two brothers, who police say can be seen in a cab, allegedly heading to meet Smollett. And later seen walking down the street in this video. The supposed incident itself not captured on tape. For weeks, authorities investigated the claims, but later determined Smollett fabricated the attack. Investigators are saying the alleged attackers were Abel and Ola Osundaro, who police say can be seen in the video running on the street.
I'm not.
His neck after the alleged attack.
I'm not going to.
Video of Smollett with that noose around his neck.
I'm not going to even continue the video. My point was that I do not feel the impact was the same. There was a powerful message that the judge sent to Smollett. And this is how I feel similar in this case. I wasn't going to talk about this, so I wasn't really prepared. I don't know if I can get to that part. I don't know if I can get to it quickly. Another commercial. The judge made a very powerful statement.
Stacks of pleadings are high. I've got stacks on my desk that are unprecedented. And we had to wade through all of them, and it took a long time to do that. And there's a tremendous amount of attorney manpower and billable hours that were lost by the Winston Strawn firm. And they did it selflessly. They did it because they thought they needed to do the right thing. All I can say is, a member of the judiciary, thank you. Because that was very, very extraordinary. And I have no idea what the amount of billable hours are, and I can only imagine, but I think it is huge and truly significant. In the event, what happened here is that after Mr. Webb and his team reviewed the case, they had several assignments, one of which was to look into the conduct of the State's Attorney's Office, and they returned a report to Judge Tuman about that, their findings about that, another about the Chicago Police Department and their handling the case. They did that. But what's relevant here, of course, is that they went to another grand jury, and they returned a second indictment. And the second indictment, ultimately by random, got assigned to this particular court. And we came here.
Oh no, they have another.
I'm too confident. I don't need your compliment. You killed this. I understood the assignment.
I can't believe they're adding so many commercials.
We've been here for a couple of years now. Well, the pretrial motions have been resolved. A trial by jury was held. The defendant was found guilty of 5 to 6 counts of felony disorderly conduct, class 4 offenses. Our post-trial motions have now been resolved. The pre-sentence investigation has been completed, and we're at the final step of proceedings on the trial court level of the criminal case, and that's sentencing. Let me talk first about the sentencing range, because I think there may be some misunderstanding, at least how the court assesses the sentencing range. This is a Class 4 felony. This is the lowest class felony in the state of Illinois. I will note that legislatures throughout the country, in Illinois in particular, have constantly cut into judicial discretion and forced us to have mandatory sentencings under different circumstances. We have to do this and we have to do that, and try to have some kind of cookie-cutter justice. But that does not exist in this case for me. I am left unfettered. Under Illinois law, the range of sentence in this case is as follows. Mr. Smollett is looking at a probationary term of up to 30 months. He can receive time in the county jail as a condition of probation of up to 180 days. He can be ordered to perform community service, ordered to participate in behavioral classes, ordered to pay restitution, ordered to pay a fine. He's also subject to a penitentiary sentence of what I find to be 1 to 3 years. Now there's talk about, well, what about 5 counts? Shouldn't he be at least eligible for a 15-year sentence? There are ways to analyze Illinois law and say that in a case where there are 5 counts, that consecutive sentences might be required or might be at least considered. I don't believe that I could ever make the findings that are necessary in Illinois law, and I'm not going to have a long dissertation about it, but I don't think those findings would apply. I don't think Illinois law, for the facts I had before me, would allow for consecutive sentences. So as far as I'm concerned, the penitentiary sentence, should there be one, would be 1 to 3 years. I'm mindful that there's acute public interest in this case. We have television cameras. They want to be here, and they are here. People are watching. People seem to care passionately for varieties of reasons about this case, and the reasons are many. And let me be clear that the sentence I put down today and render down to Mr. Smollett is not in any way, shape, or form to assuage any public sentiment in any form at all. I'm listening to things that were brought to me in court today, people that have participated in the aggravation and mitigation portions of the presentation today, but this is not for the public. The sentence that's going to be rendered today is going to be strictly for Mr. Smollett. It's going to be fashioned for him. And when a judge sentences somebody, and I've been doing this for quite a while now, you have to look at both the crime that was committed and the person that committed it. How did the person get here? Who is this person? What is the crime? You put them together, you look at the sentencing range, and you try to find something that is
excellent,
just, that fits, and makes sense.
Excellent.
And right. And that's what we're going to do. Let me tell you, Mr. Smollett, I know that there's nothing that I will do here today that can come close to the damage you've already done to your own life. You've turned your life upside down by your misconduct and shenanigans. You've destroyed your life as you knew it. And there's nothing that any sentencing judge could do to you that can compare to the damage you've already caused yourself.
Yes.
So who is Jussie Smollett? Who are you? And how, out of all people in the world, did you get to be here, sitting in the courtroom in Chicago at a sentencing hearing, convicted of faking, hoaxing, racial and homophobic hate crimes? How
against yourself.
Well, there are ironies in this case, and the ironies are many and they are profound. And I'm talking about the testimony I heard under oath from Mr. Smollett, corroborated in large part by the pre-sentence investigation. Mr. Smollett chose to take the witness stand, which of course is his right. He took an oath and he got on the witness stand, and the first thing he did was to introduce himself to the jury. He wanted the jury to know who he was, where he came from, what he was about. And I heard it on the witness stand, I heard it corroborated today by the witnesses that came and testified on his behalf. There's no question. Mr. Smollett was born into a mixed-race family. His mom is an African-American woman. His dad was a white Jewish man. There were 6 siblings. And if you can say anything about this family, and we're talking about a very, very tight-knit family, a village that was always in sync with each other, that cared about each other, was completely, wholly supportive of each other, you know that this family knew about matters about social justice more than anything else. That's what the family stood for. It is part of the fabric of their existence. I know that Jussie Smollett grew up knowing to be sensitive to matters about racial discrimination, any kind of discrimination, any kind of social injustice. As a matter of fact, I'm learning more about it as we're going on in the letters I've been receiving and the testimony I've heard today. He's been doing this all his life. He doesn't just talk the talk, he's walking the walk. He's out there, he's advocating. He's involved in the community. He cares deeply about social justice issues. And for you now to sit here, convicted of hoaxing hate crimes, racial hate crimes, and homophobic hate crimes, the hypocrisy is just astounding.
Hidden horror. This is why my page is called Hidden Horror. Because people do things that you don't think they're capable of, that you would never imagine they would do.
Don't know where to begin. I'll remember one thing that will always stick in my mind, and I've been involved in so many trials over the years, but something happened in this trial that it was remarkable, and it talks about your sensitivity to issues of social justice. You're on the witness stand. You're being cross-examined. Your liberty is at stake. It is your criminal trial. Mr. Webb is winding through some things on cross-examination, and he's going through some social media communications, and whether it was Instagram or chat or text, a little quibbling about that doesn't matter. But Mr. Webb found a line that he wanted to confront you with. He said, "Didn't you say," and he used a word starting with the letter N, "meet me at this place at this time," and I'm paraphrasing. And rather than just answer the question, which what a witness is supposed to do and expected to do in their criminal trial, you stopped the proceedings. You said, "Mr. Webb, out of respect for all the African American people in this courtroom, you should not be using that word." And I was amazed, but it showed, and I'm not talking about the pairing and the gamesmanship that may go on between a prosecutor and a witness on the stand. That's not why I'm telling this, recalling this event. But what I'm talking about is how sensitive you were to any kind of slight, that anybody, if the wrong words come out of somebody else's mouth, you're going to get up and speak up and complain about it and make sure that they know that they're not behaving the way you're supposed to behave. So you know better than anybody else that these are serious matters. They're serious to you. They're clearly serious to you and as your whole family. And for you to be here now, convicted of these hate crimes, it's just astonishing. Faking hate crimes. So why did this happen? That's a good question. I think that's the question on everybody's mind. There's some conjecture you did it for the money. Frankly, I do not believe that you did it for the money.
He didn't do it for the money.
You were making, the evidence showed, close to $2 million a year when this happened. I don't think money motivated you at all. But the only thing I can find is that you really craved the attention, and you wanted to get the attention, and you were so invested in issues of social justice, and you knew that this was a sore spot for everybody in this country. You knew this was a country that was slowly trying to heal past injustices and current injustices and trying to make a better future for each other, and it was a hard road, and you took some scabs off some healing wounds and you ripped them apart for one reason. You wanted to make yourself more famous, and for a while it worked.
Not Walmart again. I agree with everything that the judge is saying. I think the fame part can really be problematic for people when they're chasing
Everybody was talking about you. The lights are on you. You were actually throwing a national pity party for yourself. And why would you do such a thing? Why would you, I understand, you crave the attention so much, but why would you betray something like social justice issues, which you care so much about? And the only thing I can conclude is that, and I acknowledge, there are wonderful sides to you. They're very giving and charitable and loving sides to you. But you have another side of you that is profoundly arrogant and selfish and narcissistic. That's the only thing that can be concluded. And that bad side of you came out during the course of all these events. Let me talk about hate crimes for a minute. I've been a criminal judge for many years, and I've heard many victims of crimes testify in front of me. And any victim of a crime, no matter what the crime is, they are demoralized by what happens to them. It doesn't matter if you're injured unjustifiably, if somebody hurts you and it maybe cripples you or damages you in some fashion that's going to be long-standing injuries. If your property is stolen, your vehicles are stolen, people go into your homes, your possessions are stolen, people do all kinds of terrible things. It is a demoralizing experience, and sometimes it's the worst experience that anybody can ever go through in their entire life. And then if it turns out that the motivation for the criminal to do something bad to you was because they hate you because of your race, because of your ethnicity, because of your gender, your sexual orientation, your religion, your age, your disability. If that was the reason for it, it is exponentially worse. There is nothing worse than to be a victim of a hate crime. It is the worst thing that can happen, especially in our country with all our history and all that we're going through now to try to get around some of these issues. Hate crimes are the absolute worst. And I believe that you did damage to real hate crimes, to hate crime victims. There are people that are actual, genuine victims of hate crimes that you did damage to. These are people that have a difficult time coming forward. They may be mistrustful. They may not want to bring it to the attention of the community or first responders. There may be some trepidation. I don't know for sure how much damage there was. I don't know how this is going to impact other people, if they're going to be hesitant to come forward because they're going to think that they're going to be accused of acting like you and doing a stunt like you pulled here. I don't know if first responders are going to be more doubtful and skeptical of people that come forward, real victims of hate crime, because of what you did here. I'm hoping it's not that way. Now I'll show one of the ironies in this case, and I find this pretty profound. I got letters from people that advocate about victims of hate crime their entire lives. They devote their lives to this. I'm talking in particular Derek Johnson, president of the NAACP, Reverend Jesse Jackson. He's an icon here in Chicago. No introductions necessary. They devote their whole lives to addressing issues about social injustice and hate crimes. And they are here today asking me to show you mercy. And I take that seriously. I find it profound. I take it seriously. And I know that they're in a better position than myself to educate the public about that topic, about the damage you've done to real victims of hate crime. And I am confident that because of all the attention that you garnered here on this case, that they are going to seize the opportunity and they will educate the public and they'll be talking about this and they'll try to mitigate some of the damage that you've caused to real victims of hate crimes, and they're better positioned to do it than I am, and I will defer. But I will acknowledge that you have done some real damage.
I'm deep, too confident. I don't need your compliment. You killed this. I understood the assignment.
You can't even stop the ad.
I understood the assignment.
Wow.
Let me talk about your premeditation.
Let's keep going.
I've been a criminal judge for many years, and I know that people end up where you are right now, awaiting sentencing on their criminal trial. How did they get to court? How did that happen? There's some people that wake up in the morning. They have no intention of doing anything wrong. They're not looking to do anything criminal. It's the last thing on their mind. But there are crimes of impulse that happen. Road rage, a barroom fight, bumping into somebody. Words are exchanged that somebody finds insulting. And sometimes weapons are available. And the results can be horrific. And they can be permanent. And people are sitting here and they're wondering themselves, how did I get here? I wasn't looking for trouble. But trouble just seemed to find them in crimes and impulse. And when I'm saying that I have to put the person and the crime together and try to mix them and understand who it is that committed this crime within the sentencing range, and that's part of my job to do, I consider how the person got here. So, but this is not a crime of impulse. There are also crimes of opportunity. Walking down the street and somebody they left the keys in the car with the motor running. And they take the car. Or they're in the department store and they see someone put the credit card on this side and they go to adjust their baggage on the other side and grab the credit card. Those are crimes of opportunity. They didn't wake up thinking they're going to commit a crime, but something just looked too tempting to them. They use very bad judgment, and then they get in trouble, they get caught, and here they are. But then there are crimes of premeditation. Mr. Smollett, that's what you are all about here. Crime of premeditation. Mm-hmm. You did wake up in the morning thinking you were going to do something bad and something wrong. And I know more today about this than I ever did before, that there are some wonderful things about you. And I know how people They cherish you, and they cherish your relationships, and they cherish the good works that you've done. And they love you sincerely and deeply. And they're not faking, they're not lying when they talk to me about their feelings about you and the good things that you've done. But you have that dark side, and this is what happened here. You premeditated this case to an extreme that's amazing. You wrote a script. The script involved words. You're going to encounter me on the street, yell out empire, N-word, F-word. You're going to hit me. You're going to beat me up. You're going to put bleach on me. You're going to put a noose around my neck. It's a script that you wrote. Now, it's not a good script, especially for Streeterville in Chicago. It's questionable, but it's a script that you wrote.
When I say this judge is hitting everything on the head, he's breaking down every aspect of the mindset, how he premeditated the crime, how it was intentional, how it was planned.
You picked out the actors. You chose the Oceandero brothers. And why did you do that? Because you knew them. You trusted them. They idolized you. You're an established actor in a serious television production of Empire. They were kind of hangers-on there. They're trying to get jobs as extras, maybe a little speaking part here and there, but you were mentoring them. You were helping them. They wanted your advice. They would do anything for you. They thought you were one of the greatest people in the world to know, and that you could help them in their careers. They're in great shape. They gave you a little advice about diet and exercise, but they idolized you, and they would have done anything for you. And you chose them because you knew that you could trust them, that they were loyal to you. You paid them in advance by check. Not necessarily a good idea, but it was your idea. It was part of the plan that you would pay them in advance, and the check was out there. The check was shown into evidence. That was part of your premeditation. You chose a date. You chose a time. You chose a location. You had props procured. You gave them a $100 bill and had them get the supplies. What are the supplies in this case? Get masks. Nobody should see you. We're going to say that you're white, but obviously the Oceandero brothers are not white. We're going to cover your faces in masks. We're going to have a red hat because that's going to indicate MAGA country. We're going to get a rope they're going to use as a noose. We're going to procure some bleach. You're going to have the supplies. And then you had all that together, and then you did rehearsals. You picked them up and you did drive-bys. You drove around and around the block. You picked them up in Lakeview in their neighborhood, and some distance away you went to Streeterville where you were living, and you showed them. You're going here, you're going there, and you're going over the lines. You're going over the script with them so they would memorize the script. You're indicating which brother. You're the one that's going to hit me. You're the one that's going to put the noose around my neck and pour the bleach on me. This was planned. This was premeditated to the extreme. And I find that your extreme premeditation in this case is an aggravating factor today. Let's talk about the incident itself. It's all set up. Oceandero brothers are on board. Your plane is running late. Now you had a chance right then and there to think, okay, I'm really late. I'm 4 hours late. This can't go down. It's freezing in Chicago. We're on the verge of a polar vortex. You might have just thought about it and said, maybe it's not in the cards. Maybe the karma is wrong. I shouldn't be doing this. But no. You double down. You start communicating with the brothers through social media. Now, whether it was by texts or chats or Instagram, public or private, one way or another, you kept in touch with them. And there was some quibbling about the specifics about how you kept in touch with them, but they knew what time you were coming in, and now the time is pushed back to 2 o'clock in the morning in the freezing cold weather. It's double digits below zero at 2 o'clock in the morning.
When I say this judge did an excellent job, I will never forget this. It's highlighting so much of the thought and the mindset. And like you said, you could have easily changed your mind. But you didn't.
You had to have a reason to be out on the street. And the reason you chose is you come up with a story that you needed to get some eggs at Walgreens at 2 o'clock in the morning. If not that, you're going to go to Subway and get a sandwich and a salad and get something to eat at 2 o'clock in the morning in the freezing cold. You did one more thing. You got the Oceandero brothers. Now they're on board with you. You're using them as your patsies. You you get your friend Brandon on the phone, and here's a man, professional man that's trying to help you in your career. You're not sure what town he's in, if he's in Australia or not, but you get him on the phone, and he's going to be your patsy also, because he's going to listen and be around on the phone to hear that you're being attacked by somebody. Now, he doesn't know what's going on, but it's really not an
Sounds
attack,
familiar.
but he's going to be able to corroborate your story. So you're getting that together. You got Brandon on the phone, you're out on the street, ostensibly to get some Subway, you get some Subway, and you're walking to where this is supposed to take place. Now, the Ashendero brothers, they're getting ready too. And they're doing this because he wanted them to do it on the sneak. No cell phones involved. Make sure nobody sees you get there. And what they think is some kind of clever way of getting there, they have an Uber pick them up from their home in Lakeview. They take the Uber to Old Town. It's a different neighborhood. They get out of the Uber and they get into a cab. Now the cab is supposed to go to Streeterville, but not to the scene where it's supposed to happen, a few blocks away. So nobody actually sees them get out of the cab, and this works out the way you want it to work out. So they get there a little early, they're walking around, they're sitting on a bench for a minute, but at 2 o'clock, the time that you said this is supposed to happen, at the place you said it was supposed to happen, at the moment you said it was supposed to happen, they appear. So you're talking to Brandon on the phone, you have your Subway in hand, and they follow the script. Hey, Empire, word with the letter N, word with the letter F. There's a scuffle. They pour bleach on you. Brandon's listening to this. They attempt to put a noose around your neck during the scuffling. You're getting a little abrasion and scrape on your face. A car goes by, and the brothers take off. They leave. They never did get the noose around your neck. So what do? You gather your belongings. You get the cell phone. You're talking to Brandon. Hey, did you get jumped? Yeah, I got jumped. I got mugged. Did you hear what happened? Trying to make sure that he heard the words that were spoken. You grab your food, and you took the noose that they never did get around your neck, and you put it around your own neck. I repeat, you put the noose around your own neck.
I'm big fine, too confident. I don't need your compliment. You killed this. I understood the assignment.
It's the mindset.
I understood the assignment.
Go home. Video footage shows that when you walk into your residence, you have this noose dangling loosely around your neck. You go into your apartment, the police are called, the police arrive. The first officer on the scene is Chicago Police Officer Muhammad Beg, in full uniform. The first responder is the first responders. His body cam is on. He sees you. And now he sees that noose is around your neck, but it's not the way that you walked into the house. Now the noose is up at your throat. You've maneuvered the noose, and you've made it look worse than it was. This is part of your plan. Officer Beg asks a simple question: what happened? And then you start to lie. And you haven't stopped lying ever since. You've been lying and lying and lying about this case, and that's why you're here today. You want to fake the incident on the street, try to get some attention at work, try to have somebody else feel sorry for you. That would never have got you here. The problem was you lied to the police, and you caused all kinds of consternation. You caused a major investigation to take place, which got many people involved and caused great stress throughout the city and throughout the entire community here, and that's the problem. That's why you're here now. Those are the crimes you're convicted of. Not the shenanigans out there, but the lying about it, making it up, and that's why we're here now. You repeated your lies at the hospital. 6 counts were put together. The jury found you guilty of 5 of them. One was a little bit different than the others, and I understand that. Let me say, from my vantage point, I was obviously here at every stage of this trial. I thought the jury's verdict was...
Okay, I'm going to stop it here. I can link this video of the judge sentencing Jussie Smollett. It's a great video to watch. I just feel like those elements of him breaking down those decisions is very similar to the Carlethia Russell situation with the lie, the hoax, the stopping, the calling 911. calling the brother's girlfriend to get somebody on the line that's hearing it, because you need somebody else to carry it back to make it more believable. Very similar, the pre-planning, the preparation, the taking of the robe, the going to Target to get the snacks. Even with her returning and not being truthful, lying to law enforcement, going to the hospital with no real injuries. All for what? The only difference I really see is this really hurt the community in the situation with Carlee, because it affected so many people. By her faking the missing part, not just reporting that there was a child on the interstate. When they pulled those cameras, they never saw a child. And even having the visibility to see a child in the dark, and the police coming so quick in 4 minutes, I don't think the police believed her from the beginning. I don't. They never saw a child on that video. All of the constant traffic on the highway, there was a steady flow. I was surprised how many people were on the highway, but it was a steady flow. Nobody else reported a child, particularly truck drivers, because they're higher up and they have the more powerful lights. Nobody saw that. Nobody else pulled over to assist her when she pulled over with her hazards, because they didn't see anything. So I believe mostly by everything being triggered off her actions and all of these other services, resources being pulled in, just like with Jussie Smollett, the police pulled in a lot of resources to investigate what he said happened to him. Similar to Carlee, although I feel like because so many resources affected the community, the helicopter searching for her, the canine dogs looking, the FBI getting involved. I think they used maybe the Secret Service, just different agencies, the state police, the local police. In a small community, that's a lot of money. That's thousands. And on that one video with Nancy Grace, they said at least $500,000. That's a lot of money from the different agencies. Now with Jussie Smollett, I know in his case it was a little bit over $100,000 that they were going to have him pay back in restitution to compensate for all of those resources being used. So as you heard, Jussie, he was convicted. And I believe she will also either be convicted or there will be some kind of plea agreement to just close it out. And hopefully there will be some special parts of her sentencing, if possible. I believe she should have a assessment, a fee of restitution to pay back for all of these services. And I also feel like there should be some community service and maybe some mental health counseling that she should be ordered to therapy if she's not already in it. I know they said she was going to be seeking some help for her issues. And I think the court can order that also. Yeah, but I think this impacted a lot of people. A lot of people were involved. A lot of people cared. A lot of people tried to help. Particularly with Anaya Blanchard, her parents. They came forward, and I have some videos on the page if you want to check into that. But she was abducted and killed, and her mom really came forward. She has a group, a nonprofit called Anaya's Heart, and they canvass and they try to help with searching. So You know, they got her involved, and that kind of activates you to try to see it through, to try to get that the child back, to recover them. So, you know, that's definitely going to bring in, not that they're not remembering their daughter Naya, but just bringing that back into their remembrance. What happened to her, and how when Carlee's boyfriend, if you want to call him her ex-boyfriend, said that she was fighting for her life for that time period, that 48, 49 hours. I know it had been shown in Naya's case that she really did try to fight to survive, but she didn't. So that's hurtful. So I'm going to leave it there. I hope that this can kind of be used in a way to dissuade people to not take those steps for attention, or for whatever reason, to file any type of false police report or make false claims. It triggers so much. And, you know, if you're having issues, you know, try to seek some help. You know, try to confide in somebody you can trust. If you have faith or any kind of religion, pray about it. Study. You know, find ways to motivate yourself. You know, self-love is so important. You know, caring about yourself and keeping your mental health strong. It's a job. You know, you have to build that into yourself every day. Being happy, being content, being satisfied, enjoying life, finding, you know, joy and peace in things. So let's just, you know, pray for everybody affected, including Carlee. I think that this is something that she will eventually regret, seriously, and maybe a heartfelt apology, a real apology, will come out at some point, even if it's in writing. Not what the attorney released, because that was very structured to really protect her from exposing what happened really, and also if any other people were involved. And I get it, you're an attorney, I mean, that's what you're paid for, but I think after this has passed, it would be important, I believe, in atonement, you know, trying to make things right if you make mistakes. That's something that, you know, she can do later if she's not prepared to do it now. Or maybe she'll do it at her sentencing. I don't know. But let's just keep everybody in our prayers, and, you know, be the change you want. Reach out and help somebody, you know. Do the right thing, you know. So that's all I got. I ain't got no more. I want to thank you, as always, for checking out my videos, sharing my videos, liking my videos. And hopefully I will see you soon in another video. Okay? Take care. Stay blessed. And be well, friends. Bye.